Hi, I am Pratima and welcome to Planet Physiology, where complex concepts become crystal clear. Have you ever seen a hemiplegic patient with limp, flabby muscles, or Parkinson's patient whose muscles feel stiff and rigid? In both cases, muscle tone is abnormal, and this greatly affects how the limbs function. Today, we are going to learn about what muscle tone is, how it is regulated, and the clinical relevance of changes in the muscle tone. So let's begin with the definition of muscle tone. Muscle tone is a partial state of muscle contraction at rest maintained by asynchronous discharge of motor neurons. Clinically, muscle tone is defined as resistance offered by the muscle to the passive movements when the relaxed limb is moved by the examiner. The key features of muscle tone are: it is always reflex in nature, it is maintained by stretch reflex, it's crucial for postural maintenance, it's a continuous process and is adjusted subconsciously. Now let's move on to the main part of the today's session, that is regulation of muscle tone. Since the regulation of tone is reflex in nature, the system needs constant feedback. Receptors like muscle spindle and proprioceptors constantly inform CNS regarding the current state of muscle, that is, what is the current length and tension in the muscle, how rapidly the muscle length or the tension is changing. This information is processed by the central nervous system and accordingly muscle tone is adjusted. Based on the center involved in the regulation of tone, the mechanisms are grouped into spinal mechanisms and supraspinal mechanisms. Spinal mechanisms involve reflexes operated at the spinal cord level. All the reflexes that control muscle tone ultimately modulate the activity of stretch reflex and adjust the tone according to the need. Hence, stretch reflex is the core spinal mechanism for regulation of muscle tone. Supraspinal mechanisms to regulate muscle tone include role of various motor areas in the brain like reticular formation, vestibular nuclei, red nucleus, cerebellum, basal ganglia and motor cortex. These areas alter muscle tone by altering the activity of stretch reflex. So let's begin with the spinal mechanisms to regulate muscle tone. As we have studied in the earlier video, stretching of the muscle causes it to contract. Muscle spindles act as sensory receptor. It sends signals in primary, that is 1A afferents, which directly synapse with the alpha motor neurons in the spinal cord. Motor signals from these neurons cause the same muscle to contract. To learn this in detail, refer to my earlier video on stretch reflex. Link is in the description below. Okay. In contrast, whenever excessive tension builds up in the muscle, it decreases tone and prevents the muscle tearing from its insertion. This is inverse stretch reflex, which is activated by stimulation of Golgi tendon organ. Thus, inverse stretch reflex decreases the muscle tone. So, these were the spinal mechanisms to regulate muscle tone. Now, let's move on to the supraspinal control of muscle tone. These mechanisms include role of various motor areas in the brain. These areas, via various descending tracts, alter the activity of alpha or gamma motor neurons in the spinal cord. These lower motor neurons in turn modulate the muscle tone by altering the activity of stretch reflex. So all these descending tracts which are controlling the lower motor neurons, they constitute upper motor neurons. The activation of stretch reflex by any mechanism increases muscle tone and its inhibition decreases muscle tone. Let's discuss role of various motor areas in brief, starting with the motor nuclei in the brainstem. So first is the reticular formation. It exerts dual control, that is, it can increase as well as decrease the muscle tone, especially in the anti-gravity muscles. Pontine facilitatory area, also known as bulboreticular facilitatory area, is located posterolaterally in the reticular formation of upper pons, extending in the midbrain. Nuclei in this area constantly receive sensory signals from periphery and hence are intrinsically active. As a result, it constantly transmits excitatory signals to the gamma motor neurons via pontine reticulospinal tract. Increased gamma motor discharge facilitates stretch reflex, leading to increase in muscle tone. Now next is the medullary inhibitory area or bulboreticular inhibitory area. It is situated ventromedially in the reticular formation of medulla. It receives inputs from suppressor areas of cerebral cortex like 4S, 5S and 7S, basal ganglia, red nucleus and cerebellum. Stimulation of medullary inhibitory area by these centers send inhibitory signals to the gamma motor neurons through medullary reticulospinal tract and suppresses stretch reflex, leading to decrease in muscle tone. Now let's discuss role of vestibular nuclei. Vestibular nuclei are also intrinsically active because they constantly receive signals from vestibular apparatus. These nuclei function in association with pontine facilitatory area to increase the muscle tone in the anti-gravity muscles. They send excitatory signals to alpha motor neurons via vestibulospinal tract to increase the tone in the anti-gravity muscles. So their main aim is to maintain equilibrium. So remember, reticulospinal tract control gamma motor neuron activity, whereas vestibulospinal tract controls the activity of alpha motor neurons. Now next is the role of red nucleus. Red nucleus receives inputs from motor cortex as well as from cerebellum. Stimulation of red nucleus increases tone in the flexes of distal limbs. These signals travel in rubrospinal tract to control alpha motor neurons. Now let's study the role of cerebellum. Cerebellum has dual control over muscle tone. It has facilitatory control over the tone via motor cortex and red nucleus. In addition, it exhibits negative control over the tone by activating medullary inhibitory area. Cerebellum also inhibits vestibular nuclei and thus keeps check on the activity of vestibulospinal tract. That is, it prevents overexcitation of the muscle. In human beings, overall control of cerebellum is to increase the muscle tone and hence the cerebellar damage causes hypotonia. Now let's discuss the role of motor cortex. During voluntary activity, motor cortex via corticospinal tract stimulates alpha motor neurons and increases flexor muscle tone. It also stimulates pontine facilitatory area. Thus, motor cortex helps in development of adequate tone in the muscle for the particular activity. Inhibitory areas of motor cortex like 4S, 5S and 7S stimulate medullary inhibitory area and decreases muscle tone, especially in the antagonist muscles. Basal ganglia alter the activity of gamma motor neurons indirectly via reticulospinal tracts and thus regulate muscle tone. So remember, basal ganglia has indirect control over the muscle tone. Now let's quickly go through the important points with the help of this diagram. Fibers arising from alpha motor neurons are final common path and they are the main controllers of the muscle contraction and hence the tone. Stimulation of alpha motor neurons causes muscle to contract, leading to increase in muscle tone. They may be stimulated due to passive stretching of the muscle or in response to the stimulation of gamma motor neurons, which in turn initiate stretch reflex, or they can be directly under control of upper motor neurons. Pontine facilitatory area is intrinsically active, which is represented by this plus signs. It sends excitatory impulses to the gamma motor neurons, which activate alpha motor neurons and increase the tone. Pontine area also receives excitatory signals from motor cortex, especially from area 4 and 6. Medullary inhibitory area inhibits gamma motor neurons and hence decreases muscle tone. But it gets activated only when it receives signal from suppressor areas of the cortex, red nucleus, basal ganglia or cerebellum. Motor cortex also sends facilitatory signals to alpha motor neurons via corticospinal tracts. It leads to increase in muscle tone, especially in the flexors of distal limb. Red nucleus receives excitatory signals from motor cortex as well as from cerebellum, and it, via rubrospinal tract, stimulates alpha motor neurons to increase the flexor muscle tone. Vestibular nuclei are also intrinsically active as indicated by the plus signs. They stimulate alpha motor neurons via vestibulospinal tract and increase the tone. Activity of the vestibular nuclei is kept under check by the cerebellum. So you can remember easily. Radiculospinal tracts control the activity of gamma motor neurons, whereas others regulate tone by affecting activity of alpha motor neurons. Radiculospinal and vestibulospinal tract regulate tone in the anti-gravity muscles, while rubrospinal and corticospinal tract control the tone in the flexors of the distal limb muscles. Thorough understanding of this knowledge is essential to understand how muscle tone is affected by the lesions at various sites in the nervous system. Increase in the muscle tone is termed as hypertonia. It may be generalized as seen in upper motor neuron lesions without involving pyramidal tracts, that is corticospinal tracts. As the feel of the muscle is very hard and stiff, it is also called as rigidity. So rigidity is seen in conditions like Parkinsonism, decerebration or decortication. I will post a separate video on these aspects which will help you to write a short note on it. Hypertonia may be localized. Usually it is due to sensory irritation, as in case of intervertebral disc prolapse. As a result, back muscles around the region develop hypertonia and helps to protect the injured area. Whenever there is decrease in the muscle tone, it is termed as hypotonia. It is seen in lower motor neuron lesions where the stretch reflex arc is broken. Usually this type is localized to the muscles innervated by the particular spinal root. Generalized hypotonia is present in case of pure pyramidal tract lesions and also in cerebellar lesions. Thus, many areas in the brain and the spinal cord work together to maintain the right level of muscle tone. This balance helps to maintain posture, move smoothly and stay stable. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. If you enjoy my presentations, press the like button and share it with your friends. For more such videos, subscribe my channel and click the bell icon. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.